Of course, I'm Diane. So today's topic, why do we need compassion for others and self-compassion? Well, that's a great question. And I want to share a few things with you today. For instance, the power of compassion is stronger than empathy, interestingly enough, because what compassion does for us, it helps us to imagine the suffering of others at a deeper level, and we're able to better identify with that person, which tends to motivate our action as to whether or not we feel as though we're connected to them and would love to assist them in whatever pain it is that they're feeling, whatever it is that they need in order to create a better balance for that person. How our actions indicate this is directly in line with how we feel as though we're connected to that person. So when we can identify with others, it improves and peaks our ability to be compassionate. And when we begin to nurture compassion, this automatically has a remarkable psychological effect on ourself and of course on our community, because we're extending ourselves outside of our natural boundaries to be in the state of self-protection, depending on what our history is and how we go about trusting others, so to speak. So moving on. It's important to also realize that in yoga, karma means action. So our action depicts who we are, our work or our deed. So in a very spiritual approach, if you look at karma as a spiritual principle, which it is, it's a cause and effect. What we do creates a result, creates an effect, and where the intent of our actions influences an outcome. So that's important to note. So what we do creates an automatic effect. But what does compassion towards others have to do with your health? Well, that's also another good question, because it really does have an effect on our health. So we're encouraged when we're kids to learn how to be compassionate towards others, to share, to give, to be there, to be present for others. In yoga specifically, we teach how it is that you can be more present for others and for yourself. It's important. The two are really linked, and they share a lot in common. So for instance, compassion, whether you give to yourself or to others, especially if you give to others, it strengthens your immune system, normalizes your blood pressure, lowers your stress and depression, improves your physical recovery from illness. Very, very effective in this way, and even extends your life. It also enables you to understand yourself and others more as you seek to relieve suffering. So this is compassion for you in general, but specifically compassion towards others. And I'm sure a lot of you didn't know there was that connection, how it connects to health. You may have heard me speak about this in other ways before, in previous videos, previous live streams, and I did touch on it, but it's important to realize how much compassion helps to boost our immune system, which tends to create a domino effect in how well we feel or how not so well we feel, right? So remember this for sure, though, that being compassionate towards others doesn't mean over-identifying with painful thoughts and emotions. A lot of the times we overextend ourselves. You know, when you hear yourself saying, oh, I feel burnt out, or oh, I'm being asked to do this particular thing and I don't have the energy to do it. Perhaps you're creating an imbalance with your sense of self and who you are and how much you give and how much you receive. In that, you're creating that imbalance, and so your body starts to show signs of a lack of energy, lower energy. Your immune system becomes challenged and troubled over time, and it's important for us to take note of that. So this can become draining, leading to burnout and compassion fatigue. A lot of healthcare practitioners experience this because it's about knowing where it is that your balance lies, and understanding that it's about replenishing yourself and taking care of yourself. This is where self-care comes into practice. And ideally, it should be a practice, a daily practice as a healthcare practitioner, or if you're in a giving profession, that asks or requests for you to be present for others. It's important for you to know where it is that you end and where the other person begins, and how your give and take, your compassion towards others is also about giving back to yourself, being compassionate with yourself, and taking the time that you need to refuel. Now that said, seeing as how I teach yoga, and yoga teachers in general know that the teachings of yoga looks at maintaining your balance, creating that equilibrium. And it's important to become mindfully aware of this and realize what it is that you need to do for yourself. Now remember, when you're giving from a place of resentment, this is important, really key. We know that we have to give, but if we give from a place of resentment, it doesn't help anyone. And it does take away from our energy as well. And it does affect our immune system. So it's important to create that balance once again, and to try and stay away from imbalance, because guess what? That's the laws of karma. Laws of karma means that you give and take in a way that is replenishing to both sides, right? So what does karma mean? Karma, of course, is action, the yogic term for action, resulting in feeling more resentful if you give from a place that isn't quite from a genuinely even flow of giving. So in the end, our instinctive nature is to share and to nurture. And if we go against that, then it becomes a little bit toxic. So it can be challenging for us to continue to give when we don't know how to take care of ourselves. Again, this is just another side of that effect, or rather, another side of that intention. So always give from the place of, I want to give, I feel good about giving, and I can let this go and feel good about giving this particular thing or this time or this energy towards this particular incident or this person, etc. Always do a check and balance with yourself, okay? All right. Now, self-compassion. I touched on it a little bit all the way through the talks that I just mentioned, the points that I just mentioned. But according to a systematic reviews, high self-compassion is associated with reduced stress. This is, again, underlining the effect of self-compassion being a very healthy thing to do. Reduce stress, anxiety, and it decreases depressive symptoms. Also, self-compassion also relates with improvements in what folks have reported as positive effects. Positive effects such as greater happiness, more energy, more stamina, optimism, and self-satisfaction. So, that said, remember, I'm gonna review this just a little bit more for you, just go over the points. Remember that it's important to always give from a place that is not from a resentful, regretful place within yourself. If you're going to give, check inside to see if you want to give at that moment. And sometimes even when you start the act of giving, it starts to change you automatically, physiologically, metabolically. It changes us because our true nature is about giving. It's instinctively a part of us to want to nurture others and to nurture ourselves. So it's instinctively a part of us to nurture others, and that in essence is our nature. So that said, I hope that was helpful. And it's really important for you to take note and to finalize that it's simple. It is in our nature to give. That's a very strong statement. So remember that you must remember to take care of yourself in the process, and not to try and over-identify too much with the emotions and pains that you see around you if you're in a caring position. Understand that it's about nurturing yourself. In order to be there for someone else, we must first learn to give to ourselves, but we must also remember that we're connected to all that is around us. We're connected to that person next to us and in our lives, and always give from a place of love. And with that said, that's the end of this session. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like this page, like this post, and share and comment below. I hope that you share your comments of your experience that you've had with giving and how that made you feel. Look again at how compassion has affected your health over time. I know it might be subtle ways that you may have noticed it, or just reflect back and see. You might be surprised to see that it did change the way in which you felt. Your health over time may have improved. Let me know your stories. I'd love to hear them. Again, like this post, like this page, share with a friend, a loved one, and leave your comments. With that said, namaste. Enjoy your day.